Well, I've spoken at this group a couple different years, and I get a lot out of it, and I hope you do too. I get lots of feedback after I give my talk in the hall. A lot of people talk to me and say, oh, "Boy, that was really great." So I hope that is the case today too. And you give me a lot of support, and you're very generous usually. So thank you. It's a lot for me to relive all these experiences that I'm going to tell you about, because it ended up to be what you see here. It's a hard thing. Okay, can you hear me all right? All right. So it's hard for me to relive all these events, but my mission is to tell you the story about me coming very close to being killed in a farm mishap, and how I managed to survive, how medical and spiritual intervention was the key to my survival. It's a story with a happy ending. There's really no good medical reason why I survived, and in fact, the doctor said to my family, be prepared for the worst. But it was my faith and the power of prayer that helped me heal and overcome. Our family's been in the apple business. We have an apple orchard for 5 generations. We have about 7,000 trees. We grow peaches and apples, and we have a big farm stand, and you can go and pick your own apples and all that. Breezeland Orchards, Warren, Mass. just outside Sturbridge. Very easy to get to. I expect to see you all there in the fall. Mark Glow at berkshire.net. So, it was just another beautiful day at the farm. Apple farming has lots of advantages compared to, let's say, a cow farmer, which there's one right down the road, and I see this guy working and working and working. He's getting up early. That is not for me. So, I'm very glad that I got born into an apple orchard family, because it wouldn't work for me. I'm just not a morning person. So, I have 2 brothers, an older one and a younger one. One works at the farm with us, and farming really is a great way of life. I just love it. My task the day that this all happened was, to mow the fields. So I got on the tractor with the mower attached to it, and it's accomplished by just driving up and down the rows, and just like you do at home with your lawnmower and all that, just on a bigger scale. I was a happy guy, nothing bothering me, beautiful day, June 17th, it was a Monday. I mowed all day long. In the middle of the afternoon, I went down to the house, and my mother was there. She invited me in to have something to drink. I think it was iced tea. She said, you're not going to go back out and work some more, are you? And I said, yeah, there's the farmer in me. I said, yeah, of course, I'm going to go back out and work, because there's just no end to the work, and you want to do what you can. So about 3 o'clock, I went back to work, and about 4:30 I started, and I thought, you know what, I just don't want to work anymore, so I think I'll go down the house and call it a day. So I moved the mower up to the travel position. I started down to the barn, and as I went around this corner, the tractor just started to tip. And I thought, what's going on? And the tractor just starts tipping and tipping, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I got to get away from this tractor. It's going to roll right over on top of me. But there's just absolutely no time, and I got thrown to the ground, and then this big tractor, whoomp. That's a medical term. It just comes right down on top of me. And I was so surprised. My first instinct was, oh my God, I'll get away, but I just couldn't get away fast enough. and it drove me about a foot into the ground. And it came right across my left hip here and torso. And let me tell you, that tractor was heavy. I tried to squirm my way out from underneath it, but there's just absolutely no way. I was the only one that was working that day. And this starts to worry me a little bit. My brother was away, and my dad was at a wake. There was just nobody there to save me. And nobody there to hear me scream. The feeling of doom and despair started to set in. It was really a nightmare. I remember saying to myself, please God, don't let me die right in the middle of this orchard that I love so much. No one will know that all I was thinking about was my wife and my dad. I could just feel my whole life slipping away. It's true what they say, that I could feel my whole life just flashing before my eyes. And all I wanted to do was kiss her and hug my dad. I said to myself, I'll just shut my eyes for just a little while. But I said, I'm going to wake up dead if I do that. If I slip away, So I thought, I just keep conscious and all that. I could hear people down at the barn shutting doors and opening doors and stuff, so I knew somebody was down there. And I thought to myself, you're underneath this tractor, and you just can't believe this is happening. And I thought part of the living your whole life was that I thought to myself, I should have been nicer. And those are some regrets that you don't want to have. That's something to think about. I could hear people down there, and so I just couldn't. I just wanted them to come up and save me, but nobody did. Gloria said that she came home that day and felt something was wrong. Because basically I was always there for food, for the meal, and here it is, 5:30, and I haven't, where's this hungry farmer buddy of mine, right? So she started to call up at the farm and say, hey, where's Mark? And everybody's kind of blowing her off and saying, I don't know, but he's fine, And then she stirred everybody up at home, and she thought, you got to go find him, whatever. So they all went up there, and they saw my car and the tractor gone, and they started to put two and two together. This was at 8:30. 4:30, 8:30. People say, oh, that you must have gone unconscious and all that, and I was awake the entire time. And the hearing of the sounds at the orchard and being underneath there and just waiting and waiting. Then I heard a car. Where I was positioned with the tractor was kind of out of the way a little bit, and I could hear a car go by. And then it was like they went right by and didn't stop. I thought I was going to die. I felt like, a guy that's in a life raft and the helicopter doesn't see him, and there it goes. You know what I mean? So that was just traumatic. But then the person in the car came back around, and it was my dad. And boy, was I glad to see him. They got another tractor and pulled the tractor off and slid me out from underneath it. And that was the last thing I remember. And good thing there was a helicopter that was available and landed right in the orchard, took me to UMass Medical. where they kept me asleep for about a month while they had to do what they needed to keep me alive. The reports were that I suffered from compartmental syndrome. You all know what that is? From the severe crush injury, broke my pelvis. I ended up having all these fasciotomies. You know what that is? Okay? Because I'd explain it to you. You know, me and the scalpel were just like this. So, but I guess those fasciotomies resulted with just limited success, and they had to take my leg off. And they didn't do it. They didn't do it because they wanted to. They did it because they had to. And I guess later on I hear that they had to take it off in stages, which I didn't know, and I can imagine why you didn't tell me. You know, it's not that fun to think about that, but so, you know, Glow, you know, I had my kidney shut down, and I guess I had about 20 operations to keep me alive. And, you know, the nurses, the care that I got at UMass was just terrific. Then my angel showed up, Marie. She was my wife's support. She was there for not only as a nurse, but as a friend, to give us both spiritual support, and I just can't say enough about her. It's her job to be the liaison between the insurance company, because it was it was a workman's comp thing, and it was her job to go between the insurance company and the hospital, but her commitment to me and my family was one of the reasons that I'm here today. I give a lot of credit to the doctors and nurses, of course, but medicine can only go so far. You need that will to live. And that will to live comes from your spiritual beliefs. You really have to be a believer. So, you know, I'm coming to in the hospital, and Glow had some bad news for me. She had to tell me what they had to do. But I was so out of it that I would listen and not believe her, because I could still feel the leg. I would say, oh, I got the leg. The leg's still there, because I had all this phantom pain. And phantom pain is something that does exist, let me tell you. So I'm saying, oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about. And she'd have to tell me. And then I'd forget, because I was kind of, you know, in and out and all that. And the next day she had to tell me again. And again, you know, because I didn't remember. So she had one of the worst jobs, because she had to keep this terrible thing to have to tell somebody. She had to redo over and over. So she's a trooper, let me tell you. She was so sad for me. And really, when you hear news like that, you really have to have some kind of inner strength. But slowly I got better. I was in the hospital 5 months. I mean, think about that for a minute. I mean, you go have your gallbladder out and you're out in 2 days, right? You know, so 5 months I was in the hospital. While in the hospital, I got lots of letters from all my schoolmates, and I could feel all the prayers from friends and family. And my wife here has got family all around the world, and they all prayed for me. They had a big benefit for me when I got home from the hospital. And we closed down a restaurant in the area. The town had a big blood drive for me. And I've had lots of other spiritual interventions along the way, like Father Diorio, is that right? So the end result is that I did make it, but what a road it's been. And I've come a long way, let me tell you. I want to speak a little bit, too, about how my family's helped me through this and how it's impacted my family. Glow says I'm the golden boy in my family. You know, the one that everybody had hopes for. And so I feel bad at what I've kind of done to my family. You know, we have this orchard, and I'm one of the main people there, and I feel terrible for my father that couldn't retire and all that. So that's life, right? So, but what it's done is I reprioritize things in my life, and I think this is a good thing to hear and to and to think about. After all this happened, I thought to myself, boy, farm is not number one and family number two. It's got to be the other way around. So keep that in mind, because you want to, work is fine and all that, but you want to make sure your priorities are in the right place. And I reprioritize things, and I'm a lot better person now. And I think, we talk about things at the farm, and my father and I say, well, it didn't get done. It didn't get done. That's the way it goes. We're not being, short or whatever, but we're it didn't get done. That's it. So that was never the case before. It was just like, we got to get stuff done. So things have changed in my family, and think about that. So I was married about 6 years when all this happened. I met this beautiful girl, married this beautiful Colombian girl. She says she only loves guys with one leg. And she says that I'm going to heaven no matter what I do. So those are good things to hear. So we as a couple want to be independent. She was a caregiver to me for months and months and year, and you got to preserve the relationship too. And so I think it's very easy for the wife to become the caregiver, and that's a dangerous area to be in. I think I want to be independent, and I am independent now. But there was a time where she had to help me with a lot of things that she didn't really want. And so as far as she and I, we've done that. I'm pretty independent now, and so she doesn't have to help me with all those things. And that, I think that's an important thing, is that your relationship has to heal, and she has to bridge that gap and leave the caregiver side alone and be the wife. So that was one of the obstacles we had to overcome. But the message is that you have to have faith. And in whatever form it takes, prayer will maximize your healing, mentally and physically. From my experience, I know it was the spiritual, along with the medical, that got me through. I'm here today because I believe in both. I want to tell you also, just like last year, that what I would love to tell you is that you have to do the things that you want to in life. Don't hold off. If you want to bungee jump, you want to learn, these kinds of things are very important to get under your belt. And I had learned how to fly airplanes and became a boat captain and went to California and lived with a bunch of girls, and all those things made me who I was. And I really feel that it was great that I got all those things accomplished. And so I have all these memories and things like that. So that's very important. If you want to go do these things in life, don't wait. Go bungee jump, go whatever you want to do. I'm a very lucky guy. People say, hey, you're the same kind of guy. You're the same guy that you were before the accident. And I go, yeah, of course. I didn't get hit in the head. I guess I have a little higher, what do you call it? Capacity. My higher functioning is a little bit lacking. I don't know, maybe because I had all this blood loss or whatever. And I use that to my benefit. Sometimes Gloria will say, what the heck did you do that for? I go, well, I got brain damage. Well, So I don't really think about it anymore. It's been 10 years now. So we all need people to care about us and to pray for us. It's really an essential part of life. But don't forget about the prioritizing your life and do all these things that you want to do. It's very, very important because you never know what's going to happen. Right? That's it.
I just want to say, here's bravery. Okay? And this is my prayer partner over here. And, you know, for 2 years, Mark came, and Gloria was like a little hesitant. And I said, everybody's got to meet this gal that Mark always talks about.
Not the same word, though.
But I want to tell you something. I've never seen a wife love a husband more and committed to making sure that he got everything that he needed, but most of all, the spiritual component. And we would actually take turns. She would go to Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and I would spend time with Mark, and we would switch. And I have to just mention this, when Mark finally was discharged from the hospital, I called Glo and I said, hey, you know, Father Gloria is having a prayer, a healing service up in Sturbridge. And I said, I think we should take him. She's like, yeah, let's go. Well, Mark couldn't even sit for 45 minutes. Okay, so Mark was all in favor of it. I'm going, I don't care what happens. So we get to Father Diorio's. We're there 30 minutes, and Mark's sweating bullets. And so I ran over to Father Diorio and said, would you please come right now and bless Mark, because he can't sit here. So Glo, at that time, Mark's leg was completely paralyzed. And, you know, Glo was very appreciative of the fact that Father Diorio came right over, gave a blessing to Mark. Then 11 o'clock that night, Gloria calls me screaming, and she said, Mark moved his leg. And he does more than move his leg down. He's walking with his crutches and so on. So I just can't tell you how grateful to God I am that Mark and Glo are in my life forever. And I just want you to know the courage it takes for both of them to be here now, and especially for Mark to have to relive this, just to tell you, please pray for your patients and be there for them. And I will honestly say that I have gotten more from Gloria and Mark than I could have ever given. So, thank you.